The following podcast does have an explicit tag, and boy, have we earned the right to use it. Previously on Not Another Atheist Podcast. Oh, sorry, hang on.
Ooh, hey. Please let me hate fuck you.
Think of the children.
I've got to get on the ball with this shit.
Bam, dick pic!
I'm shitface and I'm gonna tell everyone why I love Keith.
I am a classy bitch.
Yeah, I'm a chicken because I'm fucking delicious. Anyway.
That's a mouthful and a half right there.
That's a balls mouthful right there.
I added that fucking for brevity, just like that.
God, I saw Jesus last night in my vibrator.
I have tapped that ass more than anybody else. Go fuck yourself. Welcome, brothers, sisters, friends, comrades, allies. You are listening to Not Another Atheist Podcast. I'm the unoriginal host, Keith, and joining me is the loudest midget to ever threaten my life, Jen. Jen, welcome back.
The driest bitch this side of the Sahara, Jen.
Okay. Well, now that everybody has that image stuck in their mind, we are once again back, holding hostage another poor civilian and extracting information from her through very brutal means. Joining us tonight is a very special person, Xandi Andersen. Xandi, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi.
We are absolutely happy to have you, and I am just realizing right now that from the control room, I can randomly insert sound effects, so if I start doing that...
Jesus fucking Christ, not again. Not for real. Like, fucking stop.
Oh my god, with this shit. The bad words on here.
All the bad words you
yeah. Oh yeah, we enjoy
and your husband has a little bit of fame, and I might fanboy out a little bit because I loved him on GAM. So if he by chance happens to stop by and I scream like an 8-year-old child, then I don't apologize.
He might accidentally hear you from the other room and just come in here just to see that. I don't know.
Oh, well, hi, Nick.
Hi.
Big fan. Okay.
How am I not following Xandi on Twitter? I just realized that. How am I not following her?
Am I following you?
No. I'm, like, never on this shit, though. Although I did just sign up for Periscope, so...
Yeah, you have a fan...
Things might get a little wild.
Yeah, I have no idea what the hell Periscope even is.
It's like a live video thing.
Oh, right. I've heard about that. Other podcasters use that, and I've never even thought about coming close.
It's just telling me that I need to do a Periscope thing. I don't want to learn new social media things. I'm an old person.
I'll do the social thing.
I don't want to learn new things.
You're younger than me. You're younger than me. Uh-oh. Oh, my God. Keith's going to fucking flip.
It's fine. I'm not drinking.
I heard my name mentioned. I was like, okay.
I love you too, but just not that much.
No, I didn't realize that you two were connected, and then I saw you on her Facebook a few times, and I was like, that I've heard his voice before. Where do I know it from? And then I was sorting through all my old podcasts, and I saw GAM, and I went, that's where. So, and honestly, that has to be by far my favorite show.
He made me, so his first time on that show, he was like, hey, I'm doing this podcast with Noah, and we're going to watch these bad Christian movies and talk about them. So I have to watch such and such movie, whatever it was, because whatever. And we're sitting here, and he turns on the fucking movie, and our friend was over here. She's the sweetest person ever. She's 16, but she's a clinic defender, and
That's
she's
awesome.
Good for her.
She's the most brilliant 16-year-old I think I've ever met. It's insane. She's like one of those kids that like I don't get along with people my age because they're fucking dumb.
Yeah, because they don't fucking get what's going on. Yeah. And
so she hangs out over here. She came over. I don't know if that was why she was over here that day, but she came over to get some advice on how to educate her school about sex ed because they weren't teaching it properly. They were just teaching women how to not get raped.
Not even.
Well, you're in Alabama, right? You're in Alabama, right?
they said yes. So they
Yeah.
said don't get drunk if you're a woman because you'll get raped. And if you're a
Don't worry,
man, you can't get raped, but you
That was
might
a
get
big
your
spot.
wallet stolen. So like being drunk is just bad because you'll be a victim and it'll be your fault. And anyway,
I love that.
I digress. So he's sitting here and he's like, and we've got Katie over here and she's, hanging out for the afternoon and venting about her dumb high school.
Well, yeah.
And he goes, hey, you want to watch this movie so that, we can review it or whatever. This is my first episode and we need to watch this dumb movie. And he turns it on and it's like 2 minutes in. No. 2 seconds in. And he pauses it to take a note. And then he presses play and 20 seconds later he pauses it to take a note. And 20 seconds after that, pauses to take a note. I couldn't take it. It was we had been sitting here for 30 minutes and we had seen 3 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
And it was all, you had to unpack every 10 seconds of that movie because every single piece of dialogue was so riddled with just misinformation, bigotry, complete bullshit, and I was screaming like, this guy is being an asshole to his wife, or, and he just did something creepy to his daughter, and we're 3 minutes in, and
it's like, he's an abuser, pedophile. Awesome.
If we're gonna watch this together, you're gonna have to watch 10 minutes at a time, and then pause, and then we'll all talk about what we saw in the past 10 minutes. But
Before you want to fucking rage out.
Every time something dumb happens.
Mhm.
If you pause it every time something dumb happens, it's going to be paused the whole time.
We'll be here 3 weeks later and still not get through the shit, so.
I think he might have said on the podcast that it caused our first fight.
Yeah.
I was like, we're not watching this goddamn movie.
But by the way, we didn't finish watching the movie together because she couldn't. It was a.
You're just like, no. I just know. You
now.
know what? I value my marriage, and no.
What?
It's like, no, I value my marriage, and we're just gonna shut this off right now. And
Well, to save
Terrible.
the marriage, we stopped it, and then I watched it in 5-minute increments while I was sitting on the toilet next week. So that was.
The
But
premise of the movie was this white preacher man. Wait, wasn't his name White?
Yeah.
His name was White, okay? Something like Pastor White.
Yeah, and his wife's name was Lily White.
Lily White. And they went to so they were teaching the first 3 minutes of the movie. You see him teaching about Noah's Ark to the children's church or the Sunday school
At a mega
class.
church.
At a mega big old fucking money church.
which
And-
I don't know if you're familiar with those. Are you familiar with those?
Mega
He's telling
churches?
them
Yes.
that Noah's Ark doesn't make any goddamn sense, and I can't explain it to you, and just wait until you get into the bigger stories, because they're even more conflicted, and none of it makes sense.
Those kids.
And the kids were asking really good questions.
And the movie was like, those questions are dumb.
No.
Don't ask those questions.
Then he gets called into sort of the principal's office. It's like the
Yeah.
pastor, the
Senior
mega pastor.
Yeah.
He calls him in the
called
office.
into Joel Osteen's office.
Right.
Oh, God.
And he's like, if you can't handle Noah's Ark, how are you going to handle Cain and Abel and where everyone came from?
And
And-
Lot fucking his daughters.
And yeah, and
Hooray!
he's like, this guy is like, oh man, I totally suck at preaching. I can't lie to people. Meh.
It's because
And
you're really a
the movie is
heathen.
pro-Christian,
Oh,
but
my God.
when you see those first 3 minutes of the film, you're like, no, this is definitely an atheist movie. I mean,
Wait, is this
people
a
are
joke
gonna
from
come
us?
out-
Is this a joke?
No, they're going to come out years from now, and they're going to be like, no, it was all like hidden messages for those brainwashed Christians because they need
Yeah.
to know how fucked up
Yeah.
these Bible stories
No,
are.
Noah, Heath, and Eli have postulated that there's a secret atheist who sits in on all of those pitch meetings
Yeah.
for the awful Christian movies. Insert these things that just like.
That's as ridiculous as possible.
That's the secret atheist scene. That's the secret atheist.
secret
right?
atheist
It's like,
I love that.
Exactly. Like, it's like when what was that movie? Ariel, the mermaid, the Little Mermaid, and the guy had been fired. The graphic designer was getting fired or whatever, so he designed the cover with a bunch of dicks on.
But,
the
and there,
discos.
no, and if seriously, if you watch it when she's getting married, the priest gets a hard on. I've watched this like 9 times. I watched it like 9 times in junior high school because like our teacher didn't give a shit. She's like, yeah, fuck it, look at cartoon dick. I don't care. But yeah, it's like whoop. It's like he says her name and it's like and like it flaps too and like the thing blows in the wind. It's fucking hilarious.
Like,
I'm like, yes.
I have to wonder. There's somebody in this Christian film industry that is, he knows, and he's like, well, the bills, but at least I can like put my little messages in here and there. Like, here's a dick. I don't know.
Do you want to know who I think it is? I secretly think it's Ashton Kutcher, and he's just gonna come out in 10 years and be like, "Y'all got punked, bitches." Ah!
Wouldn't it be the shit if it was like Ken Ham from real undercover shit?
I don't think Ashton Kutcher is smart enough to be
No.
an
But could you imagine if it was Ken
Yeah,
Ham
I
on
know.
some deep undercover shit? Let's think about this.
Yeah.
What if it's Ken Ham?
So like, you're all dumb, and like the sign drops down on the atheist on the Noah's Ark thing, and he's like, "This is all stupid. Nothing fits."
But let's think about this theory. What if Ken Ham? What if Ken Ham is an undercover atheist and he's really just getting into the deep, dark bellies of Christianity to secretly convert people with stupidity?
I wish.
Oh!
I want to believe things like that because there's no way anybody can be so dumb.
That's the Game of Thrones
ideas.
brain going. That's my Game of Thrones obsession brain converting into real life. This is
You
a
guys,
problem.
do you guys know Jake Farwarden? IFS. He's the guy.
I know of him. I haven't had a
He,
chance to listen.
We met on his show.
We met on his show and announced our
Aw.
engagement on his
Why
show.
can't shit like this happen to me? We have all these fucking guys.
Just be happy for them.
But anyway, he got to interview Ray Comfort, and he is 100% certain that Ray Comfort is disingenuous. He thinks that he's a lying charlatan who's doing it for money entirely.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie.
About
Sorry.
what? He's
The-
well, he's asking for like tax breaks and all of this shit because of his Noah's Ark project. And it's, but speaking of Noah's Ark, there's a animal shelter in Georgia, actually driving distance from us, that is called Noah's Ark, and
Really?
Christmas Eve, we had a whole lot of flooding in our area, and I saw on Facebook Noah's Ark Rescue Shelter in Georgia was telling us that all the animals are safe, but we totes flooded, and I'm like, you're fucking Noah's Ark. Like, you can't save the animals?
You're
from the
supposed to
Oh my
float, you
God.
stupid bitch.
Oh, good God.
Was it the fucking point in this floating?
That
You
is.
fucking idiot.
That is absolutely right. No, I when the trailer for the movie Audacity first came out, that's kind of what I started doing my own little segment on the show where I just kind of try to put my own thoughts to paper because I'm trying to grow up a little bit, as it were.
Dude, just fucking give that shit up. It's
so
not
I-
happening.
Yeah, we watched Audacity and I did a review of it
So-
as Jesus' Choice.
Oh Jesus. Okay, I have to ask.
It's available free on YouTube or something, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
streamed
the
it, I
one.
didn't care.
Our clinic protesters sends us that and also one called 180
Oh,
movie.
180 movies, the one we watched.
He sends us links to those on Twitter all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, please watch it, I'm praying for their soul, or whatever.
Yeah, so we watched 180 movie. I watched 180 movie while I was dressed up as Jesus' Choice and did a review of it. And it's so bad. Like, the first thing that you see is a Nazi rally. And then the next thing you see is Ray Comfort and Hitler side by side. And then he talks about... Then he's interviewing literally college students who don't know what the Holocaust was and don't know who Hitler was, and like they're definitely paid actors. And then he's trying to convince them that abortion is the same as the Holocaust. And it goes for 30 minutes, and it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
I need to start watching these because this protester actually told me what's the difference between letting a woman get an abortion and participating as a Nazi soldier in like assassinating Jews and burying them in a ditch.
Because we let the women go home to their comfortable beds after this. We don't shove them in ghettos. Well, considering where Planned Parenthood does help the most, then yes, technically they kind of do live in the ghetto. But aside from that, you know what I mean?
I'm going to have to check that out because I am absolutely awestruck at how bad that sounds. Like, it sounds so bad, it sounds amazing in the worst possible.
Like 28
minutes. I would be more interested.
I don't want to. Yeah, I'd rather let someone tell me about it. I don't want to watch it.
I just want to look at the comments. I just want to look at the comments on YouTube. I want to read the amen. They're committing a Holocaust comments. That's all I want to do. I don't even want to watch it. I just want to read the fucking YouTube comments.
And that's called 180 Movie, correct?
Yeah, 180 Movie.
You can also just go to babiesaremurderedhere.com on Facebook, and they can it's babiesaremurderedhere.com. I'm sure it's a website, but they also have a Facebook page that's also got the .com as their name.
Okay.
But if you go there, they use a lot of Holocaust references to tell people that if they're not actively trying to stop abortion, that they're participating in a Holocaust, the American Holocaust. And so my photo ended up on their page at one point. They took a photo that I had posted on Twitter where I was standing there in my orange vest that says pro-choice clinic escort, and I was holding the pledge a phrase sign. You guys know about the pledge a phrase game where
I heard about it, but you have
long story, but it's a fun game. So I started the game, and this photo I think was taken the day that I started the game. David Day, our clinic protester, he's the ringleader of the protesters. He came over to me and started yelling at me and calling me names. I mean, he brings his friends in and they say, "You've got dykey hair, and do you really think you look good when you wake up in the morning? And you're gonna die. You know you're gonna die, right? No one's gonna be able
to." That's the whole point. That's the whole point about having a human body. The day we're born, we start to die. So yeah.
But they literally threaten my life, and I call the police every time they make a death threat that's legit. Like, one time he said something that was...
Some are more veiled, some are less.
Some of them are kind of veiled, and some of them are more like... one time he literally said, "You need to fear for your life, Xandi." And I said, "What?" And I turned on the voice recorder on my phone, and I said, "What?" And he said, "You should fear for your life." And I said, "Oh." And then I dialed the cops, and they wouldn't help me. So we had to call...
You're in Alabama.
Right. We had to call the one police officer who understands what it means to work for an abortion clinic or volunteer for an abortion clinic, because calling 911 will not help you.
No.
What?
Not down here, it won't.
Jesus Christ.
And thankfully our police officer was... he responded, but he wasn't on shift, so someone else came out. He said, "I'll send someone else." Well, this other person came out, and he said, "What exactly did he say?" And I said, "He told me that I need to fear for my life." And he said, "You know, that could mean a lot of things. You know, to him, it might just be, you know, that you need to worry about the afterlife. And, you know, it's a context thing and things people say." I said, "That means literally one thing."
Yeah.
And
my life is going to end by him.
On both sides of this, you just need to be careful how you word things. And I'm not going to insert my political views here or my views on this issue. And I said, "You just did. You just did when you told me."
But if you had said that to him, your ass would have been cuffs making terroristic threats.
Yep. Anyway.
Welcome to the South, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the fucking South.
So David, our ringleader protester guy, comes over to me and he says some bullshit after I've just had it up to here, and he says, I don't know, babies are a gift, or you guys are
life is precious, blah blah blah.
One of the million things he
one of the cliche bullshit things he says, And I said, "That's $1." He said, "What?" And being the true activist that I am, I always have a bag full of Sharpies and a whole bunch of poster board with me. So I grabbed a blank poster board, grabbed a Sharpie, and I said, "That's $1." He's like, "What?" And so I wrote down what he said, and I wrote $1 next to it. And I flipped it over. And he read it out loud. And I said, "Well, there's another $1." And I flipped it back, and I wrote down every key phrase and buzzword that he says on a regular basis. And I put dollar amounts next to them. And the really annoying ones, like if he starts singing or screaming through his little tiny little baby neck, those are $5.
Ooh, you're generous.
If he opens the Bible and starts shouting Bible verses,
$25.
5 or 10,
Yeah.
10. So I turned it around so he could see the list and the dollar amounts. And I explained it to him. I said, every time you do one of these things, I'm going to donate that amount of money to fund abortions. And
You pulled cash out of your pocket and stuck it onto it to show that you were real.
We pulled cash out and we taped it next to those dollar amounts that I wrote on my little scoreboard.
Just to get started.
We taped dollars so that he could see there were actual dollars being put toward abortion funds. And then I tweeted him. And I set up an online crowdfunding site.
I was going to say, we need to crowdfund this. This is a great fundraiser. I love this.
Tilt.
Yes. So I set up a Tilt. Tilt is it's the crowdfunding site that is pro-choice and doesn't take a huge chunk of your profits. So I set up a Tilt and I put all of the donation amounts on there. And every time anyone pledged something, anytime we got any donation, I copied him on it. And I showed him the phrase that he said that caused that person to donate. And that guy shut up so fast. I mean, he just... there's a picture somewhere on my Twitter timeline where he is just so defeated. He's sitting on his little stool and just praying silently because he knows he can't say anything without money being donated to abortion funds. So,
he got really depressed and started leaving early.
So that's the Pledge My Phrase game, which the day I was explaining how to play, we took a photo of me holding up the board, and I'm standing there in my orange vest, and I'm explaining the game, and there was a video and a photo, and someone, and I just imagined that it was the guy who was all defeated and pissed off.
You tweeted it to him.
We were making money off of him. I kept tweeting him. Someone sent this photo to babiesaremurderedhere.com. And babiesaremurderedhere.com put my photo on their Facebook page. And it was me holding the chart, and I've got my orange vest on, and it says, there's a lot of Nazi crap on it, but one of the comments was, "Orange vest, easy target." And then someone else said, "Has anyone thought of aborting her?" And it got...
Yeah, but I had quite a close call. It was between that and swallowing. And I went out.
But, Xandi, don't you know that obviously, that could mean several different things? I mean, come on now.
There's no use in calling the local police. We have to go straight to the FBI, which we've done, and they have visited the protester, and they know. They're building a file on him, and...
Holy shit.
But this is how it is in the South, especially when you're in smaller towns. Everyone knows each other, and it's your social status is what church you attend.
Do you know it's not just everyone knows each other, it's everyone has the exact same views, and those views are not based on science or reason, they're based on bullshit. And
they're based on your parents taught you this, and it's your parents taught you this, and our parents grew up together, so we had the same lesson, and these families never leave each other in these towns. They stay together. So it's the same lesson being continued on to groups and groups and groups of children. It's
not just abortion, though. It's LGBT issues. So
women's rights.
And I had an individual that visited the clinic that I work for, which I don't want to get fired, but
I don't want to get fired.
my
We
boss
don't want
knows
to get
I'm an
fired either,
activist.
so.
I think he's fine with it. But
Only
I work
explain
for a
what you can.
nonprofit. No, it's fine. I work for a nonprofit HIV clinic. And
Okay.
this group from Chicago came down to see me to learn about the project that I'm working on and how they can implement it at their clinic.
All right.
And one of the guys said that the last time he was in Alabama, he asked, he said he was here for work or whatever, and he had the evening to himself, and he wanted to find a place to hang out. And he said he did what he thought was a normal thing, which was ask a police officer for directions to where you want to go.
Right.
So he asked the officer, where is the gay bar? And the officer responded with, you know that's illegal here, right? And he said, oh. And he said, you're not gay, are you?
Are you?
Are you a homosexual? And
Oh, the word! They pulled out the word. Are you one of the homosexuals? Yes, yes. I love that.
This guy who actually is gay says, oh, of course not, officer. I just
want to go beat the shit out of a fag. You know, you got to cover that shit up. You know?
No. The officer said, well, if you're not gay, then why do you want to know where the gay bar is? And he said, well, I was thinking of lighting something on fire, like burning a building down or something.
Oh, my God.
And he said, oh, the gay bar is 2 blocks that way. Take a left. It's on your right.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Can I am not an alcoholic, okay? But I've got this drinking game where I drink if I see or hear something terrible, just take a drink. I haven't been sober in 4 months. So, yeah.
4? You're not trying hard enough. You're in Alabama.
You're from Australia, right?
If you can't say I'm not racist, but you shouldn't be allowed to say I'm not an alcoholic, but.
Okay, maybe I'm not.
And wait a minute. You drink every time you see something horrible in Alabama. You are not trying this game hard enough if you've only been drunk for 4 months. This is Alabama we're talking about
I've only
here.
been in Alabama for 4 months. But if you knew anything about Alabama before you started that game, you're an alcoholic.
Good. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
But,
That's
Just a story about a police officer and gay people from the Gold Coast in Australia. Since I'm here, I might as well add a friend of mine is a police officer.
You were not invited, sir, to this show.
Well, he's here. We can hear his story.
Oh my
And
God,
we'll
Keith is
throw it up
like
as
wetting his pants right now, dude. I mean,
That's
come
right.
on, he's not allowed to leave.
We'll throw it up as contrast, okay? So this is from the Soviet Socialist Republic of Australia.
Socialism is bad.
That's right.
It's
That's right.
un-American.
It's a socialist utopia. It's terrible.
I think un-American stuff is probably good stuff.
Hey, I'm Canadian,
Go ahead.
so.
So on the Gold Coast in Australia, this friend of mine has just been sworn in as a cop. He's on his first week on duty, and there's a bushfire, and so there's this fire spreading through this area, and he didn't know that the area that he'll send into to evacuate was a popular area for cruising. So he's down there.
What's cruising?
Well, cruising is meeting for anonymous gay sex in public. So he pulls up in his cruiser and he's running.
We don't have gay people here. It's illegal.
Okay. So they're running through this park, finding all these guys in the bushes having sex, and the guys are like, "Please don't arrest us," and he's like, "No, don't worry, guys. Just there's a fire coming. You got to go." And so they evacuated all these gay guys who are having sex in public, and they didn't arrest anyone.
What a fucking way to start your first week as a cop.
Holy Jesus.
So that's the difference in police between Alabama and Australia. Okay.
Wow.
No, we're not going to arrest you. You need to go. There's a fire.
No, we're not going to arrest you.
We're trying to
Just
save
put
your life,
dick
not
away
take
and
them.
save your life. Please, sir, put your penis away. We're trying to save you here.
You there, you, peeing on that other man. Direct your urine at the fire. Priorities.
That's right.
To be here might as well be fucking useful. Well, Xandi, what got you into protecting women going into abortion clinics and seeking care?
I am going to get.
Can I order my drink and then I'll tell you?
Yes.
I'll
Order
tell
your
you
drink.
everything.
So I don't keep interjecting. I'm just going to be a drinks boy, so I'll leave you guys to it from now on.
Sexy.
Take care,
That's
Nick. It
some
was wonderful
sexy
to meet
shit
you.
right there. Are we gonna put him in a speedo for this? Because that would be perfect. Are you gonna is he gonna combine a speedo and like put umbrellas in your drink? This would be awesome.
He said, I'm a good husband.
Now, not unless you're in a speedo and you're bringing underwear. You're bringing umbrellas in the drinks, underwear in the drinks.
Oh, we
Like,
really
you know,
appreciate Nick joining us. That was absolutely wonderful of him. It was kind of an impromptu thing, so it made me feel special, you know. I know
But
he's kind of a big deal, so
Yeah.
not as big a deal as you, Xandi, but
While we're waiting for her drink, can somebody explain something to me? Why is it that all these super fit health workout pages love my pictures on Instagram and I'm the laziest fucking bitch on the planet?
because you look damn good.
Thank you. But I'm sorry, stop following me.
I
I
don't-
eat pizza.
I don't work out, I take drugs.
I eat pizza and cheeseburgers and ice cream to drown my... You know what my favorite drown my sorrow food is? Eggo waffles with chocolate ice cream and whipped cream on top. I am the last
No,
fucking fitness
No, you're
inspiration for
doing it.
anybody.
You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You know what you need to do? You need to get some pudding packs. Serious
I
shit.
have those.
Pudding packs, Oreos, whipped cream, chocolate sauce. You smush up the Oreos, you dump the pudding pack on top, you put the whipped cream and then the chocolate sauce.
I have all of this in my house right now. All of
You know what's awesome?
Costco, y'all. I'm gonna be so fat.
Bosco! She says Bosco about Hershey's.
Do you know how I learned that though? I used to be in the military.
Really?
that's right.
Fun fact, right? But we had a fat chef when I was deployed, and bless his heart,
Yes. I love the
He,
fat cooks. They make the
he would
best
take-
fucking desserts.
we had these basic staple menu bullshits that they
Right.
had to cook.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like regulated. This is what you cook. But
Yeah.
then we had this snack shelf, and it had pudding packs and fucking Oreos and
Oreos,
Nutter
constantly.
Butters and other kind of things. And he would take them and he would like make fucking pies out of pudding packs and fucking Oreos
Mhm.
and whatever he had in the fucking kitchen. And why do you have this in this chow hall and in our chow hall on the other side of the compound doesn't have this shit?
Doesn't have this shit. What the fuck? Right?
Yeah, they're like, we don't have the ingredients to make desserts. And he was like, no, I took the fucking snacks and I made desserts out of them. That's why you
That's
gotta
like making the
Yeah.
fudge out of the MREs. That's like the MRE fudge. That shit is
had fudge and MREs. It was like
delicious.
plastic cheese.
Oh.
Yeah, but you take like the brownie and you heat it up and like melt it over and it makes this really fucking amazing like fudge. It's so fucking good. I was married to an infantryman for 10 years.
I've never
You wanna
had
talk
a
about some
brownie
MRE shit?
ever. I don't know
Really?
what MRE. I had spaghetti and meat sauce, or I don't know, some other like weird chili shit. But it came with like meat sticks
Yeah, yeah.
and plastic cheese. Like it was like a thicker version of Velveeta
Yeah.
and Skittles or M&Ms.
Oh, see, I always got the M&Ms or Tootsie Rolls. I always saw those
I
ones.
don't-
Well, I was married to an infantryman for 10 years. So there were fucking MREs
Well, you know they
everywhere.
I still have one in my cabinet in there, just one.
I got
But
them
it's
in the
like,
basement.
Like in case
Yeah, I
But-
have them in the basement in case of tornado.
happens, I will live for one more day after it. one meal.
I have like a whole bunch of them in the basement for in case of tornado. Because, you know, we live in the South and this is something we genuinely have to fucking worry about now.
Yep.
This is something we really have to consider that, okay, there may be an F5 tornado coming at me and it might kill me today. Okay.
Yep.
Well then.
I've got to get the fuck out of here, dude. I've got to get the fuck out of
Okay.
here.
Well, it's funny because I'm sitting here and you guys are going, I'm so lazy, blah blah blah. I'm gonna get fat. And I'm like, I'm a personal trainer. I actually help.
Are you
people not
sending
be
these
fat.
fitness people my way? Are you doing this just to fucking taunt me?
No, not that I know of.
I worked
But I
out
will
one.
say, the boys are pretty. Oh, they're so. But this is what I don't get. Why is it that men that have these really jacked bodies are completely fucking horrified looking in the face? It looks like somebody beat the shit out of them with a hot fucking frying pan. But they have these amazing bodies, and it's like, or you're really cute, and I don't want to
They're
see you naked.
boxers.
Because what?
They're boxers.
Some boxers.
No, I'm
Some are
talking about
boxers.
these guys that are just solely really doing the supplement, getting jacked, gains, fucking macro shit, right?
It's-
Because they had a fucked up face, they got
So
really
they needed stuff. They
self-conscious,
needed.
and then they started doing what are those things people do to get jacked?
Steroids?
Steroids.
They use steroids. Yep, those drugs.
Like, so I've
Drugs are
seen
bad.
some guys that have had a good body and a good face, but the majority of
That
them,
makes your face even more weird.
yeah, but it's like
Your face is
the
already
majority-
fucked up, and then you
Yeah.
do the thing, and then it's even more confusing. Like,
but it's like, who took a hot frying pan, smeared shit on the bottom, and beat the fuck out of your face with it? I really want to know.
Why did they have to smear shit on the
I
pan?
really have no idea because I've never met one of these people that you're talking about. I'm just
You have to
going with
understand
this.
that I live next to a major military base, like one of the most prominent military bases in the fucking world. So
they're all
you know,
doing,
and a lot of them are these like really southern country boys that look fucking inbred. You know what I'm talking about? Slope forehead, chiclet teeth, low ears. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Okay.
Well, see, that's because the if I could be a little political for a second, that's because the military recruits in areas where people need the things that the military provides and they can't get it anywhere else. So, for instance, areas where people cannot get health care coverage, like Alabama, where we're in a Medicaid non-expansion state. So we have an expanded Medicaid. There are a lot of people in the gap.
Right.
You can't get health care, but if you sign up for the military, you got health care.
Or you turn into a tag chaser. For women, they turn into tag chasers who will do nothing but marry solely military because of the healthcare benefits and housing.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
You know, women are allowed to join the military too. Like, I don't know.
Oh, but
if
you're
that's
going
a
to
thing.
tell some 300-pound fucking dependent bitch that she got to get her ass in shape for some fucking healthcare? Fuck no. All she got to do is get on her knees, suck a dick like she's hungry, and some dumbass private will marry her 2 weeks shy of a fucking deployment and sign all his fucking power of attorneys away. Bitches down here know. They know how to get these boys. Let me tell you. They get all scared. Oh my God, I'm going to go to Afghanistan and I'm going to die and I've never been married and it's not worth it. So they find the one bitch with the jacked up hole in her mouth so that she's sucking a dick like a Hoover. They get the best sex of their life. She's like 400 pounds. They're like, oh, marry me. So they do. Next thing you know, she's the beneficiary of a $100,000 life insurance policy if he dies. He signed all his financials over to her, and this is why the divorce rate in the military is so high, because she gets bored. So she finds the next private off the bus to suck his dick.
Yep.
While her
Yep. Having been in the military, let me tell you why the military divorce rate is so high. You get paid additional allowances for being married.
For BAH, right. You get additional BAH for being married and additional BAS for it.
You get paid, and when you deploy, you get family separation allowance. You
Yeah.
get a lot of allowances for being married. And additionally, you get to live off base. If you're below a certain rank, you are not allowed to live off base. You're not allowed to be considered an adult within the military, and
unless you're an E6 or higher.
But if you're married, you're allowed to live off base, which means that people can't come into your house whenever they want to and
oh no, not here. They wipe that. Here
And
at this post, if your first sergeant decides you to have check, they will here.
I've known a lot of people that married that married just for the convenience of being allowed to move off base and being allowed those extra allowances for their housing and whatnot, and for their additional expenses for living off base. But primarily they just didn't want to have to live in the dorms where they're supervised 24/7 and subject to drug tests 24/7. When you move off base, they can't just walk into your fucking house and say, hey, you need to come do a urinalysis at 3 in the fucking morning. So you're considered an adult. You're allowed a little bit more responsibility, allowed a little bit more privilege, and that's why people marry in the military. They make it so that if you're single, and in addition to all of those other things, if you're single, you're not getting all of these other benefits people are getting, and you're not, you're made to work on days that other people would normally be off.
Wouldn't, because they figure you're in the barracks anyway. So
You
let us
don't
just
have-
grab you.
right.
Yeah.
You don't have a family, so you're already here. You can help us with this thing.
Right.
And it's not fair. And a lot of people just marry their best friend or someone that they trust because they want to be married on paper so that they can be treated as an adult. And that's fucking
that-
bullshit.
That
That
I
is-
don't have a problem. See, to me, I don't have a problem with that. If you're both going into this marriage with an understanding of that, that's fine. The issue that I have is, and
There shouldn't. No, I have a problem with somebody needing to be married to be treated
Yes.
that.
that I do have a problem with.
And I also have a problem with someone needing to be in the military to be able to have health insurance and afford their education and afford their house. That is bullshit. You take all
Absolutely.
things away from people that should be rights to them as a citizen of the United States, and then you say,
Right.
"Oh, well, if you serve in the United States, we don't do the draft." Oh, because we're so awesome, we don't draft people.
No.
But if you
We don't draft you.
serve,
We just strong arm you.
Here's the issue that I have with
you
it.
don't serve in the military, you don't get all of these things that you should fucking have because you pay goddamn
Because you're contributing, yeah, you're a fucking contributing American. The issue that I have with it, I know pretty much infantry and combat arms. And I see these guys that come in because they need health care for their families, or they need to afford college, or they can't afford to live on their own. And they see the military as this means to an end. So when you come in as this means to an end, you're not really thinking about the fact that somebody is going to die next to you. This is a bullshit job that you're going to skate through to get what the fuck you need, get your fucking GI Bill, and fucking skate. So what happens when they send your ass overseas? You're not properly trained because you're not paying attention. This is a means to an end to you. You're not passionate about the fucking guys that you're standing next to. What happens? You become a fucking liability to life.
You're still not properly trained, even if you're paying attention.
Right.
You know how many times I fired for training purposes, fired an M16 and was trained and had to qualify. And I was in the United States Air Force for 11 fucking years. Do you know how many times I fired that fucking gun?
How many times did they make you do like the EIB? Well, we call it EIB or CIB, or I shouldn't say EIB, CIB, that's infantry, but the qualification courses for claymores, for M16s, for M4s. How many times?
For
How many
M16,
times a year?
for M16, I was in for 11 years. I
Right.
qualified 3 times. Three.
They didn't
That-
make you do it once a year?
And no, and those were the only times I ever touched a firearm at all, period. I was not allowed to have one at my regular job. It wasn't required. I didn't need it.
See, I'm not very
Because it
familiar
wasn't
with the
part
Air
of my
Force
job.
end of it.
The
We
only-
have Air Force here, but I'm not familiar with their protocols.
Right. The only people on an Air Force installation who need a firearm, who are even allowed to have one, are the cops. And even if you
Right.
have a concealed permit or you have your own firearm, you're not allowed to bring it on base.
No. You're not allowed to, right?
All of the guns are in the armory, stowed away, with guards watching them, and no one has access to them. The only people who have guns on an Air Force installation are the cops. And do you know what?
Wow.
Those cops never shoot anybody,
No.
and no one ever complains about needing more guns. And it's kind of this like socialist utopia in a lot of ways that the military base
What?
has.
In
This is coming from somebody who lived on post for 8 years. It kind of is this like social. See, but the Army's a little bit different. If you're married in the Army and you live on post, you can actually keep your guns in your home. Like they're kind of more lax with that shit. And
You
like
have
I said,
to
I'm
register them though. You have
right.
to.
Yes, you have to register them.
You can't just drive on base. If you live
No.
off base, you can't drive on base with your firearm.
Can't.
You can't.
I like I said, I'm used to the combat arms end of it. So like the training on weapons and everything, I'm used to that being at least once a year, just because of the differences in MOS.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I've seen these guys come in and they're like, I've looked at soldiers and been like, he's going to get somebody killed. Somebody is going to die because of him, because he did not give a shit about coming in. And, they make the jokes about the infantry. You don't need a high ASVAB score for it, blah, 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 blah. So, and I'll admit, the infantry kind of takes a lot of the bottom of the barrel sometimes. So these kids are just coming in because they just want to go to school and get a better life for themselves. What they're not realizing is they fucking hate this job. Infantry is miserable fucking life. That is some miserable shit. They hate this fucking job. They hate their fucking superiors. So they don't want to fucking listen to them. We can't beat the shit out of kids anymore. Everything's got to be on a fucking counseling statement, so they're not really learning what happens when you fuck up. So what happens? You got a shitload of fucking 18-year-old kids that are looking for a means to a fucking end, that they're sending to war and putting weapons in their hands, that are responsible for other people's lives.
Who are not properly trained.
Who are not properly trained.
That's
Because have never even been allowed to drink legally.
Yeah. Because they're still training them in the mindset of, you're not going out there and fighting quote unquote terrorists. I shouldn't say quote unquote terrorists, but they think that they're still going out there fighting uniformed armies when they haven't been for nearly 2 decades now. And they put them in this mindset of enemy, kill, when in fact, and then when they get to the country, they're like, well, now you have to work with the locals. And they're like, but we're not fucking trained to work with the locals. We're trained that if they move to fucking shoot them.
Mm-mm. So I worked at the Air Force Culture and Language Center.
Like I said, I'm used to the combat arms end. I'm not used to the opposite.
No, part of my job
HR end of it. You know what I mean?
Was teaching individuals in all branches throughout the DoD how to interact with other cultures,
right?
And not
but
just,
it's like here, it's like a 2-week fucking course.
Like you're going to be working with them.
Yeah.
Like, this is how you talk to a farmer in Afghanistan about how to grow food crops instead of poppies.
But here, like, they bring you guys in here for, like, a week. They bring you in for, like, a week, like, 2 weeks before they fucking deploy. And then it's like, okay, here's, thousands and thousands of years of culture crammed into a fucking week, and go deal with these people.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of what we did was we built field guides that they were built into the pockets of the cargo pants, and they had tabs in them, and they could flip to key phrases and information that they needed to know. But other than that, it was computer-based training. It was like a little click-through webinar kind of thing. And they click through, and then they have a little test at the end. And if they get it wrong and they fail, then it just makes them take the test.
Yeah. Or what they also have here is we have JRTC in Louisiana, and we have NTC out in California. NTC is like a mock Iraqi village, and you're supposed to learn how to deal with these people over the course of 30 days. Yet we had a it was my ex-husband's sister battalion, actually, that raped a 14-year-old Iraqi girl and then slaughtered her family. So I'm like, okay, now every time they do NTC, it always turns into an enemy combative situation. And I'm like, what the fuck are you teaching these guys? Wow. To deal with the locals if, constant, it's this enemy combative, enemies not cooperating situation.
Right.
That focuses on an us versus them mentality, and that just reinforces
and that's what it is. But I mean, you kind of have to go in there with this us versus them mentality because these locals are shitty as fuck. They will sell your ass out to the fucking Taliban. They will sell your ass out to the people crossing the borders and the Chechens faster than you can blink. They will fucking sell you out. But it's the fact that if you're both coming at each other like this, then what the fuck is getting resolved? You both smile at each other for the duration of time that you're there, and okay, we're gonna make nice, and then when the next unit comes in, they're gonna go fuck with them. Which is exactly what happened in the Peshawar River Valley. My ex-husband's unit did quite well over the course of 16 months, and they, played their little roles. 173 came in, lost every fucking fob, and pushed every soldier back to the Peshawar River. Because there was no way to transition them. And it's but that's my beef is that these kids are joining.
I was never in a combat situation.
Right.
When I deployed, I was on an Air Force compound, and we didn't leave it. I mean, we did, but it was like
you're the guys that were all cracking fucking jokes on all day.
We rode out 2 or 3 hours away until we got to shops, and then we were civilians.
And then you're like, oh, okay, but I see it as that combat end, and I see these kids that come in that aren't taking this seriously because they know all they have to do is 4 years or 6 years, and they're out and they get their money. So you come into a life or death situation like this, you're not giving a fuck about life or death. You're thinking about your fucking paycheck at the end. Is this who? I don't fucking want somebody that thinks like that standing next to somebody that I give a fuck about in a war zone. Because I can't trust whether or not he's going to save his fucking life.
Well, ideally, I don't think we should be in any of the wars that we're in. So I think
I've got a lot. I'm still very on the fence on whether or not we should have put boots on the ground in Afghanistan.
First of all, they're not boots on the ground. When we
Quote
talk
unquote. To
Well,
me,
wait,
they literally are boots on the ground.
But for our listeners, when we talk about boots on the ground, the indication is that those are because what we do when we memorialize those individuals is we have their boots and their
dog tags and their helmet. Yeah.
And their M16 in their helmet and boots on the ground. When you say that to a military member with a working brain, that is, hey,
that's what you go back to.
We value you as a person,
right?
But you're a pawn in this game, and we don't give a shit about your life.
Well,
and we're not boots.
That's kind of the excuse my terminology. That's the general consensus of how people.
Called. That's what it's called.
But to me,
it's not your terminology.
To me, living through that from the outside in, that's how I see that they see these kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they fucking are to them, is pawns to throw out there.
And they are kids. And that's another point, just bringing us back to the issue of these pro-life, and I'm using air quotes, people, because they are not pro-life.
No.
They give a shit about you when you're a fetus, and then when you're born, no shits. Nobody cares.
No,
but when you're old enough to enlist, it's, oh, hey, we need you.
We need you. Like, you need to be a good American and serve your country.
Yeah.
No. But I did sign those papers, and I signed them because I had no other way to pay for college. I had no other option for health care, and that is not the country I want to live in, and that's why I am voting for Bernie Sanders. I'm running as a delegate for Bernie Sanders, and I think
jealous that you're able to run as a
now
delegate.
we have just perfectly transitioned into the real reason as to why we brought Xandi on here.
Military healthcare is the shittiest fucking healthcare I've ever seen in my life. It's like, oh, you fucking ripped your toe off. Here's 2 ibuprofen and go fucking walk. Here's some Motrin and go walk that shit off.
See, and I'm from the great land of Canada. Our healthcare is definitely not that shitty, even just for civilians. It's for me, I can go to the hospital. I can go into the emergency room and come out and not have to pay a fucking cent. I can get an ultrasound done for free. I did a year ago.
When I had my son, he was 5 weeks early. My water broke first. I go to a military hospital. He straight up doesn't even check me out. Mind you, this is a 5-week early child. Oh, first-time mothers always go over. You're fine. Go home. If it starts happening again, come back. I come back 6 hours later. He checks me out. His face went white. I was like,
no. This goes back to that training issue we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
No one is properly trained.
Yeah. It's like, he's like, it was probably urine. I'm like, I know which hole comes out of what. Okay, thank you.
I hate to say it, but I think we've gone on long enough on that. Not that it's not interesting. It just
we did touch on a political topic, so
we did, and then we kind of transitioned into what we really were hoping to kind of get into. Because Jen, I know you're a big Bernie fan.
I'm rabid for Bernie.
Bernie, feeling the burn and everything and all that, whatever. So Xandi, you said you
delete the last hour of our rambling.
No, fuck that. He better not.
No. That's all for the. That's all great. That's amazing. This is probably going to be the single easiest edited show I've ever had to do. That's awesome.
I don't do that shit.
So, anyways, Xandi, you are running as a delegate for Bernie Sanders. Why don't you tell us how you got involved in that, and you actually recently saw him speak.
Could you tell me what a delegate does?
No,
from the impression that I was under, you actually go out and actively. I know you have to be elected as a delegate.
Yeah, so I have to. I'm just kidding, but it's so weird. I've never voted in a primary.
Really?
I don't remember ever voting in a. I don't think I have. And fun fact, I have never Nope. Nope. I don't think I've ever voted Democrat.
Wow.
I don't think I have.
Once.
Not
I
on
voted
a
Democrat
national
once.
level. In state elections, yeah, but I used to be a Republican, and
Evil.
that was
Are you a plant? You're a
it's not
Let
my
her talk.
I was indoctrinated, and so with all of that Christian indoctrination crap came this Republican ideology as well, because that is
They kind of go hand
Christian.
in hand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So, I never questioned anything because I wasn't allowed to question my faith, right? So when you don't question your faith and you hold so tight to those Christian values, that's Republican, and that's what that is. And so I never voted Democrat, and I became aware of reality after Obama was elected, and it's just been, I mean, I have so much respect now for candidates who quote unquote flip flop, because I hope, and my mind is open to believing that those individuals learned new information and changed their mind accordingly, and that's what you're supposed to do, right? And that's what I've done, and
a commentary on that
yeah,
on Dog,
someone mentioned,
and they were saying,
yeah,
they'll say flip flop, but to just describe somebody who, this is, I can't remember what the issue was, but Bernie had said one thing 10 years ago. I think it might have been on the gun legislation issue, and he had changed his mind. And I think Hillary had said he was flip flopping when, really all it's doing was he just had changed his mind because, he grew up and he learned something new.
But you know what I find funny?
Right.
That Hillary now says
I think
she's progressive like that she just learned something new. Really, bitch? You learned something new since October?
if you flip because you learn something new, that's one thing. But if you flip and then you flop, that's confusing. That's weird. Why would you do and then do? Nope. You should just flip. The flip flop. That's not the right word, because that means you went one way and then you went back, and that's not normally what it's used to refer to. Am I wrong? It's normal. Someone changed their mind one time.
That's flip.
Uno más.
Or they changed their mind several times, but on different issues, once on each issue. And I've never seen that term used to refer to someone who went back and forth over and over again on the same issue. I mean, have you?
I consider flip-flopping where, like Hillary Clinton. I have a severe distaste for this woman, just due to history that she has here personally at the military base here. Flip-flopping to me is her. She will flip to one audience tell them what they want to hear, and then she'll go back to her fucking campaign financiers and then flop back to her last argument.
That is flip-flopping.
That is flip-flopping.
Yes. So,
but she decides to be progressive.
I guess, honestly, I've never followed a politician long enough to see that happen, So it's like, I see it a little with Hillary, but I've just recently actually gotten active in politics over the past few years when I started learning that it was okay for me as a woman to think for myself and have my own opinions and
have a voice. Yeah, and have a voice and use that voice.
And that in addition to that, I should inform that opinion on facts. I should pay attention to things. I should look things up. I should do a little research and figure out why my opinion is what it is and if I should change it. Because I thought God was a real thing at one point. So maybe my views on these politicians are not exactly accurate, Maybe
because that's what was handed down to you. It wasn't your own research.
No, maybe the Iraq War was a bad idea.
Yes. Sorry.
You,
That's
you
the
know,
Democrat me coming out. Sorry.
is when I went to my father, who I no longer have contact with because he's such a bigoted asshole. When I went to him and I said, I don't believe in God, his response was, I knew you were going to start to believe. I knew that when you kept taking English classes and you kept increasing your education, I knew this was going to happen one day. And he kind of smirked, and it was this weird laugh, and it was the most awkward. He didn't know how ironic it was for him to say that, because he was saying it as an insult, as like he thought
Like
that
being educated was something wrong to be.
yeah,
Because it turns you away from God.
I know.
Yeah.
You kept going to school. You want me to keep believing, and it was like he wants me to keep getting an education, and so he doesn't want to discourage that. But if it keeps me from believing in God, then he's upset about it. And obviously,
Does he realize that he insulted himself with that, though?
He doesn't. And I laughed and I said, "Did you just call yourself stupid?"
Because educated people can see when you call yourself a fucking idiot.
He just laughed and he said, "Why don't you believe?" And I said, "Dad, if I came to you when I was in high school, say 17 years old, and I said, Dad, I'm pregnant," which to him was the worst thing that could ever happen to me.
Right, you could kill somebody. That is not as bad as getting knocked up and not being married.
That was. Yeah, I think at one point, I think he used the phrase "slit your throat" in reference to what he would do if he found out I was pregnant and not married.
Did you grow up in the South? Were you from Alabama?
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking Alabama, Baptist, Christian. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Gotcha. Yep.
So I said, Dad, if I come to you in high school and I told you I'm pregnant, but it's a big time of virgin. He started laughing, like even in my question. And I said, "You wouldn't believe me?" And he says, "No, of course."
Exactly.
Laughter. He can't even find words. He says, "No." And I said, "So why do you believe this book that
tells you the same thing?
That says that this woman, who you've never met, supposedly said the same thing because supposedly she thinks it actually was a thing that happened to her?" There are so many layers to that. You're 8 years removed from what could be the truth. And here I am in front of you. If I said that to you, you would laugh in my face, and you raised me. You raised me. You've known me my whole life, and you trust me, and you know me. If I told you that, you'd know I was lying. But if someone you've never met told someone else,
thousands of fucking years ago,
told someone else, who told someone else, who told someone else, who blah, 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 and then eventually it got written down, you believe that, and you based your entire life off of it.
You based your entire moral code off of it, dude.
And he just sat there. It was like there was laughter and the, haha, I knew you were going to get too educated to leave, and then there was that, And he just sat down in his chair, and he just sat there. And he had this sort of smirk on his face like he knew he got beat. Like, I won, you know? I'm the debate queen. Woo! You know, I gave you a Bible lesson. But, no, but his facial expression and his reaction to that was just argument over, you know? Mic drop. Like, you're done.
You actually
like,
got off really fucking easy with that. Like, because that's usually a fucking tear-down debate.
He's not going to argue with me, but he just believes differently, and he thinks that I'm stupid. And he thinks that I'm stupid for thinking that science and reason are above God again, I'm using air quotes.
Mhm.
Like,
No, I've heard this. Yeah. Hmm.
so it's the smirk and the being silent and all of that. That wasn't him saying that he knows he lost. It should have been.
That was him saying that he didn't think it was worth arguing with you because he saw you as beneath him at this point.
I think you're so dumb. You're so dumb that you think science is a real thing and like reason actually works with religion. You know God doesn't talk that way. He's above all of that. You know, he speaks in ways we can't understand. You know, I mean, it's like trying to explain how the
Actually,
universe
that's called schizophrenia. Okay.
Yeah. So Xandi, you have a very fascinating story, and I would love to tell it, but I think that means we're going to have you back on. So that I hope you guys don't mind if I interject and kind of try to take us back on course here. So
That's what you're here for.
As a delegate for Bernie, what does that exactly mean?
It means I might be a democratic socialist. I don't know if I should like look up my dad and find him and come out again. I have another thing I need to come out for.
I didn't know you were a Canadian.
Right?
Because apparently we're all democratic socialists.
Well, that's awesome.
That is, and I think it's a good way to live. Except I like my guns. That's my thing. I like my guns.
So, I'm running as a delegate for Bernie. My full name, if you want to vote for me, is Xandi Andersen. But, you know, I'm the first one on the list because AA, you know.
AA, yeah.
You know, all the alcoholics will find me. Yeah. So I'm running as a delegate for Bernie Sanders. There was the option to run uncommitted, which a lot of people did because I don't fucking know, but whatever. If you vote for me, I got to go to the Democratic National Committee, and I got to go to the convention, and I got to, you know, maybe meet Bernie. I don't know. I touched him, though. I shook his hand. I did. I shook Bernie's hand. He came to Birmingham, and I shook his hand. And I hugged his wife. And yeah.
Oh my god.
But
Oh my god.
there are some pictures from the rally.
I checked those out. I wish they would do something like that here in Tennessee. I really do wish they would do something like that.
I'm so tired of the Republicans, especially the ones that are running for Senate right now. They're using the whole "we support veterans" bullshit in there.
Oh yeah, because you really supported veterans when you voted to fucking defund their programs.
They have voted against every veteran benefit program
Everyone.
that, you know, the one that Bernie put up a couple years ago, and it's just insane. So I held up this giant poster board that I made because, like I said, I'm an
creative
activist
like that.
Sharpies and poster board. It's my thing. They're always in my car. So I made this giant poster board, and it said, "Veteran for Bernie, thank a veteran with your vote."
And I like that.
I got a seat. I was standing. I was in a standing only section on the floor, but my section where I ended up standing was right behind the podium. So in every photo of him, I'm right behind him.
Right there.
Like, yeah, it's awesome. So
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And then on the other side of my sign, I wrote the date of the Alabama primary, which is March 1st. So everyone knows. I'm shocked at how many people don't understand how these things work. Like, I've always known. I've just always been apathetic until
I honestly
now.
think that that's purposely done that way to keep people out of the voting process as much as possible.
Oh yeah. It's so Nick tells me, you know, you're not automatically registered to vote, and I'm like, no, you got to go down to the courthouse and you got to, you know, do the thing. And he says, well, I thought, well, we're citizens, so we're automatically, it's a thing that, you know, we pay our taxes and they register us to vote. And I was like, no, you have to go down here, and there's a deadline, and if you don't do it by the deadline, then you can't just show up on election day and vote. Even if you pay taxes, it's not a thing that you can do.
No, this isn't automatic here.
What? And then he tells me there's a fine. If you don't vote in Australia, you get fined.
Really?
And I was like, what? So
They just really don't give a shit that much here.
So we don't find people, but we definitely don't make it that difficult. I mean, we send out, like, months in advance. We send out your voter card with your information on it and say, is this you? Just to say, this is where you go vote. Bring this card with you as identification.
No, we don't
so
get that
it's
here.
you.
We don't get that here.
Wow.
You're just supposed to know.
They do. They don't do things that way here. Like, we get we get nothing at all. Like, I showed up to vote the last, I think it was the mayoral election here in Alabama. I was voting for our mayor, and I showed up and they had me listed under the wrong address, and I was like, I swear I updated that.
So then you have to go to another polling station because that's technically not considered your district. Blah blah. Yeah.
Right, but that's okay for me because I have a few privileges, and one of them is that my job is very flexible.
That's cool.
I'm allowed enough off time that I can go drive to the other side of town if I need to.
Wow.
And secondly, I do have my own transportation, and I can drive myself and not have to pay bus fare to get to that polling location that's on the other side of town because I stupidly forgot to update my address. But
Wow.
the best privilege of all is that I'm white, and I'm an innocent-looking female person. And when I explained the problem to this woman who was volunteering at the polls, she gave me a ballot and said, you can just update your information later and go ahead and vote from here. And she didn't even make me leave.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing that happens to everybody, but
I've never been put in
in
that situation.
Montgomery, Alabama, there's a lot of racism, and so every time someone's nice to me like that, and they do something that I feel like is a favor, I just feel like it's because I'm white. and that they haven't
living in Montgomery, that very well could be it. I mean, you're in Montgomery.
What the hell are you doing?
My mic file.
But if they've seen me on the 6 o'clock news with my crazy protest signs, they wouldn't treat me that way.
Honey, it's Montgomery, Alabama. Do you really think these people watch the fucking news that much? Let's
do.
think about this. Like,
Oh.
They do, and they do because it's Montgomery, Alabama, and they don't get their news from alternate media sources. They get it from the 6 o'clock news because we are in 1950 here.
yeah,
and,
you still are in the pre-Civil War times.
And at another time, I went to vote, and I had just changed my name.
Mm-hmm.
And I changed my full name, and I did it because the family who raised me, they're assholes, and I don't want to be associated with them.
Right.
And I wanted to choose a name that fit me and who I am since I discovered reality.
Since you woke up.
Yeah, I didn't want to be associated with that Republican, conservative, Christian, crazy person that I was brainwashed to be before. So I chose a new name for myself. And I went to vote with, I had no ID that showed my former name.
What your former name was.
And my voter registration was under my old name. And then I remembered I have a concealed carry pistol permit.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled that up. And I showed it to them. Yeah. And I showed it to them, and I got this lecture of, you keep on carrying, you have it with you, which is illegal. You cannot bring a gun to a polling place.
No, you can't.
They wanted me to have it. They wanted to see it. They were like, do you have it? Can you show it to me?
What kind of caliber is that? What holster are you running with that?
I know. It's like, I don't actually have it, because that would be like...
It's fucking illegal.
Jesus.
Yeah, but I got to use my... and that's not actually, if you look it up, not a authorized form of identification for
it's not.
Yeah, I was
voting purposes.
CCR is not considered a valid form of identification.
We are in a voter ID state where to keep black people from voting, Alabama has issued this, and Hispanics especially.
Hispanics. It's mainly Hispanics that it's being targeted at.
Well, no.
Well, here
that.
it is. Here it's Hispanic.
You say that, but it's also the black vote. They have made it so hard that you have to have your ID, which costs money, right?
Right.
Costs
Which
money
you have to take a whole day off of work for to go get.
To go and get it. And then they shut down all but like literally a handful of voter ID or DMV driver's license issuing offices throughout the state of Alabama. Only a handful of offices remain open, and they are scattered like widely geographically.
Yeah.
And these individuals who live in poverty situations, low-income areas,
can't obtain ID.
Vote. You cannot go and get your goddamn driver's license.
Yeah.
And vote, because you have to have your ID to vote. And you know what? We just figured out that the black people have driver's licenses. So shut down all the driver's license issuing offices in all the black counties. And that's literally what they did. So it's not just
I heard about this in Alabama.
Yeah, it is awful. It is so fucking wrong. I mean, gerrymandering is bad enough, and we've been putting that for so long. And they can't even, gerrymandering still doesn't get them the votes they need. That's how fucked up those Republicans are. They can't even get the votes they need by gerrymandering their fucking districts. They've got to make sure that black people literally cannot fucking vote.
And it's so fucking sad because, I mean, we think of the Civil Rights Movement, we think of Selma.
We had, I went to the...
And still nothing has changed. We think of Montgomery, Alabama. We think of Selma, and nothing has fucking changed in 50 fucking years.
I participated in the 50th anniversary march, and people were carrying these signs that say the march continues.
Because it does.
It fucking does. There are so many issues that we thought we solved that are still going on today because these idiot Republicans are revoking the Voting Rights
I'm not mistaken, isn't Montgomery County one of the poorest counties in Alabama still?
No. Lowndes County is one, and the name escapes me, but the poorest, Wilcox is the poorest county in Alabama, and they are on, I think, the top 10 list throughout the United States.
I'm attached to East Tennessee and East Kentucky, believe me, I know, But it's, here we are 50 years later, and you look into the town of Selma, and they're still living in poverty. There's still fucking racial profiling. There's still the majority of cops that go through Selma are white. Nothing changed.
I have, my organization opened up a clinic in Selma because there were individuals there who could not get access to HIV care otherwise. And just for listeners who may not know, if you are engaged in care and if you are taking your medication as an HIV positive individual, you are 97% less likely to transmit the virus to your sexual partner just by taking your medication.
That's amazing.
And that is something that these people who cry about fucking handouts do not grasp, that when you help someone who needs help, you are helping all of society around them. And that's not just an HIV thing. That is a poverty thing.
Well, we're both supporters of Bernie Sanders, who wants universal care and college education.
If you help someone who is in a poverty situation or who's like in an institution where they're not getting a proper education, if you help that person, you're helping all of fucking society. That person.
I got into it with a very hardline, staunch Republican that said he would never vote for someone that was for socialized medicine. Mind you, he's in the military participating in socialized medicine. So let's get the let's wrap our heads around this logic. And I said, what you don't understand is that if you keep the population healthy, you keep them working. Because then they no longer have an excuse to say that, because he's like, that's just giving a handout to people, and you keep handing them out, they're not going to work for shit. And I'm like, do you realize if you fix the people that are on disability, they can no longer collect welfare and disability and food stamps and cash assistance, and they can get back to work? What don't you understand? The more you know. What don't you understand that if you keep a population healthy, you keep them working. You're actually removing people off of assistance because you don't have, and I hate to say this, I know it's a very small, it's a 2% margin, but you know those women that are overweight and have diabetes and do nothing but suck down Mountain Dews and fucking shove cheeseburgers in their mouths. And I can't work because of my diabetes. And
can we talk about Mountain Dew?
Okay. I'm curious.
I come from
I want to know where you're going with Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew, dude.
Have you heard of Dew Shine?
What?
Yes, that happened in Tennessee. That happened in fucking Tennessee. Wait. I swear to God, I don't think it was that far from me.
Propaganda crap.
I don't think it was that far from me. Let me Google what county it happened. It's Mountain Dew and antifreeze, I think. Racing fuel. Racing fuel. It's racing fuel. Let's see. Where did this happen? Where in Tennessee did this happen?
No, what's going on here is my cat has decided to occupy my table right in front of me.
She always joins us.
I was not acknowledging her enough.
Greenbrier. Okay. This happened in Greenbrier, Tennessee. Greenbrier is not even an hour away from me. Greenbrier is the midpoint between where I live and Nashville. Nashville is an hour away from me. My ex-husband used to go shooting in Greenbrier. 2 kids from Greenbrier decided to mix Mountain Dew and racing fuel. They call it Dew Shine, and they died.
No, it's not funny that kids died. It is really fucking. It
happened in Greenbrier,
which
is not very far from me whatsoever.
These children have parents who think that that's okay. Who think that it's okay to let their kids drink Mountain Dew, first of all.
Well, there was a documentary done.
There are red flags here. My kid's drinking Mountain Dew. That's a red flag. Secondly, why is the Mountain Dew brown?
Yeah,
this doesn't look right here. There was actually Diane Sawyer. Yeah, Greenbrier is 50 minutes away from me. Diane Sawyer did an expose on the eastern part of Tennessee where parents actually give their children Mountain Dew in bottles out there.
What?
And these children now have an issue what they call dew rot with their teeth, where these young toddlers are drinking so much Mountain Dew that their teeth are literally rotting out of their heads before they even start school.
That's horrible. What the hell?
And it's because the high caffeine count and the high sugar makes the kids feel full. It's because it makes the children feel full, and it's cheaper than milk.
There's a problem there.
That tells you the fucking problems with East Tennessee. That tells you the problems at East Tennessee, that people would rather give their kids Mountain Dew because the Mountain Dew keeps them fuller longer. And it's cheaper to afford the milk.
Xandi looks as though she's had a bit of a gender change. Hi, Nick. Welcome back.
Hi, Nick. And now these kids are suffering from dew rot. 2-3-year-old children whose teeth are rotting out of their fucking heads because of the constant state of the sugar and just what's in it,
acid, and
sitting in their teeth, and it's like bottle rot, but like 10 times worse. But
and of course, how often do these people practice good dental hygiene?
They don't have dentists out there. They're just not out there. They don't have medical coverage. They don't have doctors. They don't have dentists out there. But they're so desperate to keep their children full that they're giving them Mountain Dew because it keeps the kids full. The carbonation keeps them full.
The new black. You did. She gave her kid the Mountain Dew. She was like,
no, but this actually does happen. Like it was in the documentary. It does happen out here, like East Tennessee, Eastern Kentucky. that it keeps the children full and it's cheaper than milk, so they just rather give that to their kids so their kids don't complain about being hungry and their kids don't go hungry.
I have a
The fact
thing.
that this fucking happens in America is a fucking issue. The fact that parents were giving 2-year-olds Mountain Dew to keep them full because they can't afford fucking milk in America is a fucking this should tell you right fucking then and there. And then what do? They rip their own fucking teeth out with pliers because they don't have dentists out there. Hello, this is why we need universal fucking healthcare.
No,
Yes.
This is why we need Bernie. I think what we need is we need to tax the shit out of Mountain Dew and things that poison people, and we need to remove the tax from things like milk.
Sanitary napkins.
And I was gonna say tampons.
Yeah,
yes.
there should not be a tax.
And condoms.
Actually,
There should be no
fun
tax.
fact.
No tax on things that protect you and help you be a healthier person.
Or should at least be a very,
No.
very, very reduced level of
Do you
tax.
all know how much a pack of cigarettes is in Australia?
How much?
Like $25 a packet.
Yeah, that's New York. I think this year New York is going to go up to 22 a pack
Wow.
with the taxes now.
In Canada, it is about 14.
That's how they
It's
pay
about
for your
$5
healthcare.
here.
Yeah, that's right. But
but,
if they raise the prices that much, and it reduces people smoking, and they also put pictures of dead people on the packets. That's
We were doing that here for a while too. They were doing that here for quite a while.
Just drawing back to the reduced tax thing.
We have,
Adorable.
we are getting way sidetracked.
Yeah, because of you. Now go.
In Canada, actually, last year we actually got rid of the sales tax on tampons. It's funny because I actually knew about this before my girlfriend did. As it turns out, I'm more in. I know more about women's issues than she does, or at least I'm more aware of the arguments about them than she is.
Yeah?
Hello. Yeah, well, I saw the petition. It showed up in my mailbox. I was like, "Fuck, I don't think so at all. Like that's dealing with human dignity. Like, I don't know
I'm
why
gonna
that
tell
should be
you
at all."
what I pay for pads here in a minute.
Oh Lord.
Can we go back to the Selma to Montgomery March? 'Cause
Yeah, let's go
Yes.
back to that.
I had a thing I wanted to say. If
yes.
you have not heard Morris Dees' speech from the conclusion of the Selma to Montgomery March, you have got to
I gotta
Google.
check that out.
Absolutely have to watch it. I marched in the Selma to Montgomery March, and when we got to the end, I was tired. It was so fucking hot outside.
Yeah, well, it's Alabama in the middle of summer.
I was holding the HRC banner. The march continues for LGBTQ rights and equal marriage. And I was tired. I was so exhausted. I was dehydrated. I wanted to go to sleep. And you know how the heat just makes you want to fucking just pass out.
Honey, I live in
sleep.
Tennessee. Believe me, I know.
Yeah. So we got to the end of this march, and I'm like, who is speaking? I don't want to stay. I'm tired. There's a pub over there. Fish and chips and a beer sounds nice. But Morris Dees comes out and gives the most riveting, moving, amazing fucking speech. He pointed at our governor, Governor Bentley, which I call him Mr. Burns. He looks like Mr. Burns.
He does. He really fucking does.
To expand Medicaid. He points at him and calls him out. You know, this is the problem. The problem is behind me. And you have to watch it. I was hot and tired and exhausted, and I got chills when I heard him speak. And
Do you, by chance, have links to that?
And it's on YouTube. I can Google it.
Yeah, it's on
but
YouTube.
It's on YouTube. I'm sure the SPLC has it. Morris Dees is the founder of the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Mhm.
So I'm sure it's on there.
He's an absolutely fucking amazing man. Like,
yeah. And
We'll have to
fucking
hunt down the
on
links
I
for that and make sure we
wish
post them
he
in the
was
show
running
notes.
for president, but
yeah, yes, but I don't
He
know if
actually-
he's kind of radical. He's kind of like way radical, so I don't know how.
dude, he lives
The
around the
southern
corner,
half. Oh my god, I'd be there
which
like
means that there are unmarked cars coming around the neighborhood all the time.
I don't know. I
because
think
he
places like New York and Detroit and California would take to him very well. It's getting the vote here, where we live, that wouldn't happen.
why we have to be here. And the mission of the SPLC, I mean, they serve the people who live in areas where they're not listened to, they're not heard, they're
Exactly.
not. And that's why it's the Southern Poverty Law Center, because those are the people who need it.
But yet these are the people that consistently vote Republican against their own interests.
I don't, not the clients of
Not
SPLC.
the black community. Not SBLT, but I mean the South in general.
People in my town, yes, they do, and they don't understand. They're like, why is this happening? Why aren't they, veterans?
Because you keep voting these fucking assholes in office, you dick.
Yeah.
It's like the experiences I had with a very small town in West Virginia, where these people were living in fucking, not even abject poverty, absolutely bottom fucking zero poverty,
Where
selling
in
their
West
lands. The Weirton, like the outskirts of the Weirton area.
I've lived in a lot of places there in West Virginia, but I don't know that town.
This is the Appalachia region. This is where people are so fucking poor that they're selling their land to the oil companies.
I remember when I lived there, Glen something, I don't know, it's on one of the mountains. We were all on a mountain, and people were talking about, what? And she says, well, I wanted to study with you. Do you have a phone in your house so that I can call you? No one had phones.
No one had phones.
The thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And people in PE. So this is the difference between West Virginia and Alabama. So when
this is like the area of like eastern Kentucky, eastern Tennessee that I was talking about. It's all in that mountainous region.
They hear the rhetoric and whatever the politician says, it's like, oh yeah, pro-America.
But I will tell you right now, you go out to these mining oil mountain towns, do you know who they're voting for? Donald fucking Trump, because he speaks his mind and I like what he's got to say. And what I don't understand, and they will be very free to talk about the niggers out there. Oh, they will be very free to say that shit. What I don't understand is that black people living in poverty are living the same fucking way you are. So why the fuck are you hating them when these are the people that are struggling with you?
It's called race baiting.
Yeah, race baiting. Yeah.
That politicians do to make
or what gets me is,
well, I don't know where it started, but I know that when there were slaves and indentured servants, it was, well, you're at least not them. You're at least better than they are.
Right.
And that's empowering, and you're in a good position because you're not them. It's like it could always be worse.
Yeah, that's New York City had that with the blacks and the Irish coming up. It was, well, at least you're not black, at least you're not Irish.
The fact that it could be worse does not mean that I don't get to complain about how shitty
Exactly.
it is.
Exactly. I've actually been told, well, yeah, you're a woman, but you're white. So what do you have to complain about? I was like, yes, I don't have it as bad as a black man or a black woman, and I do have white privilege just for being white. But it doesn't mean that I can't complain about the fact that I can't wear a fucking skirt that's, 3 inches above my ankle without worried about some asshole at a bar coming to rape me.
Or
just going to a bar in general and worrying about yeah. Or why were you drinking at a bar? If you weren't drinking at a bar, then you wouldn't have had something slipped in your drink.
Yep.
So it seems as though I think we've kind of come full circle in our discussion. We've been talking for nearly 2 hours.
I've got to visit you in Alabama. I still need to come visit you.
Yeah,
you can start tearing shit up.
How long is the drive?
Let's see here. Yeah. We're planning this shit right here live, ladies and gentlemen. That's it.
Wonderful.
We're planning on taking over the fucking world right here on air.
No, we have a road trip thing we gotta do.
No. We have a take over the world fucking situation right now. Okay. Why am I in this?
Well,
what is wrong with my fucking galaxy?
Sorry.
Well, Jen is busy getting fucked around by her phone. Xandi is clearly a guest we're going to have back because she's somebody we need to get to know just a lot better. She's
5 hours.
Incredibly intelligent. She has so much she has to say and offer, and we are truly honored to have her join us for this discussion.
Really
Xandi, thank you so much. So, because we promoted it, just again remind people how they can vote for you as a delegate or anything like that. The benefits of that.
Yeah, no, I'm in District 2 in Alabama, and you have to vote for Bernie before you can vote for a Bernie delegate. So you gotta vote for Bernie, which I know that you are. If you're listening to this, you're voting for Bernie because
smart listeners.
we convinced you. So if you're in District 2 in Alabama, you have to be registered by, I think you have a couple weeks left.
Really
now.
quick,
it's like mid-February is the cutoff.
Alabama
but you can register online.
Primary state? Is Alabama open primary, or do you have to register per party?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there's no party registration. You just have to be registered to vote, period. So as long as you're registered to vote, you just go up at the primaries and tell them, I'm a Democrat, and they'll give you the Democrat ballot. So yeah, if you're in District 2, you vote for Bernie, and then below that you'll see a list of delegates, and they're separated by sex. So you'll see there are male and female delegates listed, and you can vote for 4 delegates. So there's me.
Make her your first choice. She's number 1 on the list.
Yeah, I'm Xandi Andersen. I should be the first on the list. I don't know. That sounds like it makes sense. There's also a friend of mine, Paul Hard. He is an LGBT activist. His late husband was killed in an automobile accident. He is still fighting his former mother-in-law for
his estate. Yeah.
The SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, is representing him. Mm-hmm. And the Foundation for Moral Law, which was founded by Roy Moore, our Supreme Court Chief Justice in Alabama, who is pro-life, anti-gay, in other words,
Alabama.
He's a bigot. And his organization is representing the mother-in-law who says that, well, because Alabama does not recognize same-sex marriage or did not recognize same-sex marriage at the time that this accident happened, she believes that she is due, this mother-in-law, is due all benefits that should be awarded to the spouse.
Because she would be next to kin as of the fact it wasn't legally recognized at the time.
In addition to that, not only is she disrespecting her son, dishonoring her son after he's passed, not only is she a shitty mother, Paul Hard was denied the opportunity to be with his late husband on his deathbed because the laws in Alabama did not recognize his marriage, did not recognize that he was a family member. The hospital staff wanted so badly to let him be at that bedside, but they couldn't legally do it. And it broke the hearts of those individuals who had to say no to him, and it completely devastated Paul.
Absolutely.
For those reasons and many more, he is an LGBT activist. And he's on the front lines every day. He's with me at all of these rallies for LGBT rights and protections and things that we can only imagine might happen in our lifetime in Alabama. And he's running as a delegate for Bernie Sanders in my district as well. So when you vote for delegates, please consider him as a male delegate. He's one of the most amazing people I've ever met, and I am honored to be running alongside of him. So that's that.
Wow.
Yeah. March 1st is the primary. A lot of people don't even follow these things. So.
March 1st is also the primary in Tennessee. We are an open primary state. I personally am registered as no party, but I could still vote for any candidate that I want to in the primary because of that. So I believe the deadline for voting is Monday. So Monday is your last day, people. I'm sorry, the deadline for registering.
Oh.
That's
Okay.
the deadline to register to vote in Tennessee, I believe, is
Jen, you're going to give our
1st.
guest a heart attack, and she's never going to come back.
The deadline to register to vote in Tennessee, I believe, is February 1st. So if you people can get out Monday and you're not registered to vote, please register. You don't have to pick a party. I personally am no party myself because I like the option to be free. Get out there and vote.
You aren't allowed to pick a party in Alabama.
Really?
You just show up at the polls. You show up at the polling place, and this is my dog. Sorry.
Hello,
puppy.
Pooch. Cute.
You show up at the polls and you say, they say, which ballot do you want? And you say Democrat, and they go, she needs a Democrat ballot. And
they don't do that because we can't pick
for
parties.
partisan politics.
You just check in and say this is who I'm voting for, and you go to the little booth. I know New York is, from last I remember, it is not an open primary state, so you have to physically register to vote for a specific party. But you would think that New York would be more progressive than that shit. You know what I mean? It's fucking New York. You would think.
Right.
You know? How does the South get this shit going and the northern states don't? I never understood that. Elitist little fucking fucks. You elitist banker shits.
So, Xandi, how can people find you on the internets?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we still doing an outro?
Yeah, it's sort of.
I know, right?
It's a formality. I just kind of want,
He always does this shit.
You're gonna have to learn how to be rude to women and say like, listen, I need to cut you off because we gotta stay on track.
Dude,
here.
I'm his co-host. I'm a fucking cunt. There's no way he's gonna learn this shit.
No, there's no. Xandi, I saw the look on your face when Jen just went off. When she gets going, there is literally no stopping. It is an object.
It has to
It
come
is
out.
it is an unstoppable force. You
I'm
let
like
it
Roger
go.
from American Dad. If I don't get it out,
So, anyways, Xandi, where on the internet can people find you?
I am Xandi Andersen on Facebook, and that is, I have to spell it. It's Xandi Andersen. It's E-N, not O-N. It's not the common spelling. And I'm also on Facebook as That Xandi Girl, and that's, again, Xandi. So, yeah.
I think you'd be Twitter.
The Twitters and the Facebook. And one more thing, I am helping Nick relaunch Good Advice podcast. So please tune into that. We're going to have a big... We were just, before you called us, we were talking about our big launch party that we're going to do. And it's going to be really, really fucking amazing. And just tune in for that, and
I cannot wait for that.
Follow us and get some updates, and we'll tell you all about it. It's gonna be fun.
Excellent. I look forward to being able to promote the shit out of that to our very small but loyal and amazing audience. You know, it's quality over quantity, really.
They listen because I'm hot. That's why. Don't fucking fool yourself.
Yeah, you should see the amount of dick pics I have to delete out of our email inbox.
Seriously? Oh my god, send them to me. I'm kidding.
I'll
put them on the blog. I'll put them on the blog.
I literally asked for dick pics on a podcast one time, and I never got any. I don't understand.
Didn't you ask for those when you were skeptic?
I think because they couldn't spell my name. I'm just gonna guess there's somebody.
Dude, I have a ton from dating websites. I'll send you mine with the responses. I'll totally send you mine.
There's someone whose name is Xandi Andersen, and that poor woman is getting dick pics galore, and she's like,
"Oh my god, what happened?"
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Xandi, again, thank you so much for joining us. We really hope that our listeners took to heart what you had to say.
Thank you so much.
And we really hope you've inspired them to get out, get the fucking votes done. We also want to thank
Save this fucking country.
He made a little cameo, and that was awesome. I got to fanboy a little bit, and I don't often get to do that, so that was awesome.
It really doesn't. It's sad, the cellar that I keep him in.
Google Nick Morganmore, or, if you find me on Twitter, his link is in my profile, but Google Nick Morganmore. He's got a website and everything, so that's
Wonderful.
where
He's all established and official. Look at that shit.
I know.
I bought him a URL. It was for his Christmas. Yeah.
Jen, why don't you buy me things like that for my birthday?
Because I'm not fucking you.
So? It doesn't have to be about
That's
sex. Not
true.
everything's about
Yeah.
sex. Why is it always
Yeah,
about
at
sex with
this
you?
point in my life, yes, it has to be about sex. If you want me to buy you shit and I didn't give birth to you, you better be fucking me right. That's just that.
I buy things for my dogs and I don't fuck them.
Well, that's like a mom adoption thing. That's different.
Okay, and now that we've gone into bestiality, I am going to thank Jen for joining us. Once again, thank Xandi and Nick for joining us. I'm out.
The Not Another Atheist podcast experience is run by Jenn and Keith. If you wish to contact the hosts, please write to nehehp@gmail.com. They can be found at facebook.com/NotAnotherAtheistPodcast or search Not Another Atheist Podcast on iTunes and Stitcher to subscribe and leave reviews.
Are we recording now? Because
Yeah.
this needs to happen before oh.
I'm picking up my panties and I'm going home. Okay.